Hey guys, so I'm here at Whole Foods, and last time I was over by the skincare, I mentioned I've talked about witch hazel before. I've talked about Thayers witch hazel before. Well, I actually couldn't find the video because it was probably in a blog, so I'll just go over it really quickly, and I will put it in the title here so people can find it in the future. But if you're not familiar, witch hazel is an astringent that people commonly ask me about using as far as a toner. In general, I don't at all advocate toners. They largely are drying. They are irritating. Even moisturizing toners are just kind of watery versions of moisturizers. So not super helpful, just another thing for you to spend money on more often than not. Witch hazel is kind of a soothing astringent that can kind of transiently mop up some excess sebum and oil. So in an oily skincare routine I shared a while ago, as well as in a oily skin Q&A, I talked about using witch hazel kind of just degrease a little bit in the morning. And the way I used it in those routines is to just kind of swatch over a little witch hazel on top of the oily T-zone prone areas to mop up that oil, and then actually wash your face, not to leave the witch hazel on the skin. And the reason being, witch hazel, while it can be soothing and anti-inflammatory, it actually has some a little bit of irritating properties to it for many people. And I know everybody will comment about this, but you can, and many people do, develop an allergy to witch hazel. As a matter of fact, there was a case series of people using witch hazel, and they all developed problems to it, 25% of which were directly due to witch hazel specifically as the allergen. So, you know, it can and is problematic for many people. All right, but if you want to use it, fine. That's how I recommend using it, though. Don't leave it on the skin. Thayers is good. It's good because they don't put alcohol in their toners, in their formulas, so they're not as drying. They do put fragrance in them, including the unscented one. The unscented one has grapeseed extract in it, which is antibacterial, so it's kind of an antiseptic in the product, but can be irritating and basically is fragrance. I know everybody always asks me, like, well, I don't have a problem with fragrance. Just because you don't have a problem with fragrance today, tomorrow, next week, next year, doesn't mean you won't develop a problem to it, and doesn't mean that it's not causing problems in your skin that you are not consciously aware of, namely vasodilation, increased inflammation, and the skin irritation. And importantly, my rationale behind avoiding fragrance is that there's not an established reason to be putting it on the face of benefit. So when you want my recommendations for evidence-based skincare, I've got to point out that there's no evidence basis for putting fragrance on your face. It largely can and does lead to problems. But if you want to use it, that's your prerogative, but that's the evidence basis for me saying try and avoid fragrance. So, of course, lavender is a fragrance, rose petal is a fragrance. Pads are just a soaked version of the liquid formula, and then the spray is just a spray bottle of the same thing, and they're naming it a facial mist, but they're all variants of the same thing. I actually would discourage you from using the spray version of it, because if you at least apply this onto the face with a cotton swab, you avoid getting it around the thin skin of the eyes, where irritation is the most likely to happen. But while it can be soothing, the reports of it helping acne that you read about on the internet are all anecdotal at this point. Not saying that it's not possible, we just don't have, it's not an evidence-based recommendation at all. There are no case series trials looking at witch hazel in acne care. Just case reports of allergy to witch hazel. And side note, many of you all pointed out, and I changed the description box the last time I was in Whole Foods, the waterproof eye makeup remover, I did not notice when I was in here, but it does in fact have cinnamon in it. So thank you guys for pointing that out. I noted it in the description box. We're here having our breakfast.
I got, happy Sunday everybody, glad to see you. I got oatmeal.
Yeah?
But these are called Columbine grapes. They look really good. I thought they were lychees, but
yeah,
they're actually grapes. And I did the flax granola, pecans, and then oatmeal.
You've got an Americano with almond milk?
Americano with almond milk.
I got a breakfast salad. I got arugula on the bottom and some baby kale with blueberries, green peas, some of the dry roasted green chickpeas, a little piece of the flax granola, and some coconut and cinnamon. Oh, there's also spiralized beets down there. Yeah, green and blue. So last night we took Ty B out for his walk, and I need some help as far as, quote, training Ty B, because I want to see if I can get him to run with me. And the problem is this: he's a sprinter at heart, and I can't get him to just run slowly. So he bolts and he sprints very fast, and then he fatigues very quickly. So I want to condition him to run. So I want to get him to jog at a slow pace for a longer time, and then work up to a longer distance at a faster pace. But I can't get him to get over, because he's got that puppy enthusiasm of wanting to sprint, and he's really fast, a really fast sprinter, and he can sprint for a long time, but then he fatigues. How do you train a multi-poo to become a distance runner?
I don't think it's happening.
He's in really good shape. He's in really good health.
Yes.
You know that? He's in really good condition. He gets a lot of exercise, and he has a lot of energy.
Guy, so
yeah.
I don't think he's built for a long
That's why I want to
distance.
try a little jog, just to get one slow-paced jog around that entire outer loop of your apartment complex. It's not that far. He walks that distance.
You could start with a really brisk walk.
Yeah.
Because he will walk briskly. But for the running, he's just going to shift into that.
In bolt mode, yeah, sprint mode.
But you can try him, but I don't know if it's good for him to try to be an endurance runner.
It is good for their
His bones are not built for that.
Yeah. But, well, I'm not thinking of taking him out on, like, miles and miles. I just mean a loop around the...
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't grow up with dogs, so I don't really know much about dog training or dog rearing. We're here at IKEA. And, we're in the
Hi, everybody.
mock-up craft room. And how adorable is this little dollhouse bookshelf? I like that. Is this the same craft cart you have for your pens?
This is the IKEA version, but it's very similar.
Oh yeah, yours is from Michael's, right?
Yeah, mine's from Michael's.
Ooh, what is that? Oh, an advent calendar?
Yeah.
That's a cute one.
It is a cute one.
It's probably milk chocolate though.
Yes, it is.
Too bad. Yeah, they have a vegan advent calendar at Whole Foods by Divine Chocolate, but it's not, it's not, it's just a big Divine Chocolate logo. Yeah. I had a vegan advent calendar a few years ago by, blanking on the name. Eyeing the IKEA Christmas tree. I really like it. It's sort of woodlandy. I'm just admiring their wreaths too. They're cute. We're still at the front of the store. By the time once you hit the 1/3 of the way through the maze that is IKEA, you're like, why did I come here? Get me out. These little stuffed dogs they have everywhere are cute. Oh, I love these little Santas. And this mini tree. He's good. This would be good in my bedroom. $25. I love the little mushrooms. Very for Siggy. Well, we got some good finds at IKEA. I ended up getting the frames for my Christmas coloring pictures, and I'm pretty happy with them. These were only $4. So this is the ornament and my wreath. I also got a third one for this tree once I finish that. So look at me with my attempts at Christmas decor. I'm wearing my glasses because my eyes are a little itchy and my contacts were not having it.
He's just jazzing it today.
Tabby bow.
Hey, Dad. He's got a little...
I'm so cute. Well, hey guys, what's up? I'm obviously back. I just got out of the gym. And I wanted to update you guys. I talked about this a while back, the BioClarity 2% salicylic acid. This is the treat step in their 3-step clear skin routine. And I have to say, I am really impressed with this product in particular out of that 3-step system. All of the products were wonderful. I really enjoyed the face wash, and you know, I talked about the Go-To Cola Leave-On moisturizer, but this has to be one of the best leave-on salicylic acid products I've ever tried before. It's in a really nice colloidal oat base, so it's moisturizing, which can be really hard in a lot of leave-on salicylic acid type treatments. They're often very drying and irritating. A lot of times they have alcohol denaturant in them, which is not bad at all, but can be even more drying. And as far as a spot treatment for a pimple, some people really desire that. But if you want to pursue a nightly leave-on 2% salicylic acid, like for diminishing the appearance of pores, you're really not going to want to be drying out the skin simultaneously. So this vehicle is really nice in that it addresses the barrier defect that's invariably going to ensue when you pursue leave-on salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is a beta hydroxy acid. It is lipid loving, okay? It goes into the skin very well because you know, it can diffuse past our waxy lipid laden outer stratum corneum, and it can also, and largely, concentrates in the oil producing glands in our skin, the sebaceous glands. That's why it's so helpful for acne, and in doing so it also exfoliates the skin to a certain extent. Now, alpha hydroxy acids on the other hand, which include things like glycolic acid, lactic acid, mandelic acid, citric acid. There are many. They're fruit-derived fruit acids. They are very large water-loving compounds, unlike salicylic acid, which is oil-loving. They are water-loving. So they have a really tough time getting into the skin. They don't concentrate in the oil-bearing surfaces of the skin. So they're not particularly helpful for acne. They're not particularly helpful for diminishing the appearance of pores. What their strength is in exfoliating the top layer of the skin, and depending on the alpha hydroxy acid, they can actually penetrate into the skin much more deeply. However, it is highly dependent on a variety of factors. First and foremost being the pH of the product that the alpha hydroxy acid is in, which alpha hydroxy acid it is. So glycolic acid really is the smallest of all of them and has the best chances of getting into the deeper layers of the skin and really doing a good, solid, deeper exfoliation. That's why it's only allowed in certain amounts in over-the-counter products, because what we use in dermatology in the clinical setting as far as alpha hydroxy acids are much higher, and we apply them to the skin in a very controlled manner. And you know, it's a procedure essentially where we're looking for an endpoint that is very patient dependent. And as a consumer, you know, you can't safely apply that. You would burn yourself quite literally. So that's why there's regulation surrounding the percentage strength of AHAs and over-the-counter things. And it's my understanding that in the UK, you're actually allowed somewhat higher percentage strength. But you know, it's largely dependent on the pH of the product, because the pH of the product influences how much of that percentage of the acid is in an actual free acid state where it can function in the skin. So if it's not pH'd appropriately, then you'll have a very low amount amount of free acid in the product, and the percentage of overall acid is irrelevant. So if somebody's selling you a 25% AHA serum, you know, that doesn't really tell you a whole lot. It doesn't tell you what the amount of free acid is. You need to know the pH of the product, and you need to know the pKa of the acids that are in there in order to calculate how much free acid is actually in the product. And you really will you'll never know that. The companies aren't going to disclose that degree of information. Furthermore, it's also dependent on what other things are present in the product, okay? Because alpha hydroxy acids are water soluble. They dissolve in water, and so it always baffles me when I see AHA serums that are in oil-based vehicles. I'm going, all right, so not only are you asking the alpha hydroxy acid to somehow penetrate through the already waxy lipid layer of the outer surface of the skin, but you're putting it in an oil-based vehicle. How does that even work? I'll tell you what the acid is doing in that case. It is acting as a moisturizer. Alpha hydroxy acids, unlike beta hydroxy acids, they offer an additional benefit in topical skincare products in that when they're there, they just kind of are hanging out on the surface of the skin, and they end up making really nice humectants and enhancing the moisturizing outcome of the product. And you know, they may get a few flecks off of you know, superficial built up dead skin cells, but they're really not exfoliating. They're largely acting as a humectant. So you know, this is where my beef with the term serum really comes from, because it's highly ambiguous. They don't tell you anything about, it doesn't tell you anything about the actual vehicle. It's this kind of made up cosmetic term. And it varies. You know, I'll see one serum in Sephora that is oil-based. I'll see another one that is, you know, a lightweight lotion, an oil and water immersion. And they're all over the place. And so, you know, as a consumer, you think, and the cosmetic industry has it ingrained in you that somehow by using the word serum that you're getting an ultra pure version of something, and they're highly misleading you. So yeah, I mean, you know, there's a very popular leave-on alpha hydroxy acid product out there that I get asked to review daily. I get asked to review the entire line daily, and you know, the whole premise of this line is everything is formulated in the special oil. So you know, I'm going, how exactly does this work? Not to mention the other premise of this particular line and many other lines is they want you to mix your products together to kind of customize and build your own. And you know, from a pharmacologic standpoint, that is completely illogical and makes no sense for a leave-on alpha hydroxy acid. You know, if you start mixing in moisturizers, you're further abrogating the alpha hydroxy acid, the exfoliant activity of it by doing that. Not to mention, you know, you're not getting an even application of the product onto your skin when you start mix and matching. You're not giving even concentration. It really just introduces a whole spectrum of variables into it, and largely what you're getting is a moisturizer. And so that therein is where a lot of the lies of these jazzy serums come from. But BHAs and over-the-counter products are reliable. You know, they're oil loving. They can get into the skin very well. They don't penetrate as deeply, but they impart ongoing acne control. They can help diminish the appearance of pores. For people who just want a little bit of exfoliation, you're going to get that with a BHA, probably comparable, if not even more reliably so than you do with a lot of over-the-counter alpha hydroxy acid products, to be frank. That's, you know, just because there's so much variability in what the acid is and how the products are formulated. And you know, if they're in these oil-based vehicles, it's like, really, that's just a moisturizer. So that's why I'm always like, you know, salicylic acid really is the winning thing. And the funny thing is, a lot of those products, a lot of those serums that are oil-based, they also will include salicylic acid in there. So at the end of the day, you know, you're buying either an overpriced moisturizer or you're buying an overpriced leave-on salicylic acid that you could have just gotten in the drugstore, like, I don't know, from Clean and Clear or something like that. So yeah, it's a slippery slope of lies. But yeah, end of the day, I am actually, you know, I'm really happy with this 2% BHA that BioClarity has come up with. I do recommend it. It is a wonderful leave-on BHA and affordable, cruelty-free, and vegan. It's unfortunate it's not available internationally yet, but you know, stay tuned. Maybe one day they will have a broader reach. But this is a really good one, and I'm glad to be able to recommend it to you guys. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the vlogs this weekend. My mom and I, as per usual, had a ton of fun. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.